Hello, and welcome back. I hope you don't mind, but we're going back to the caves tonight. And specifically to talk about the Steam controller. I know. Who would have guessed? Because I thought it would be fun to have a conversation about the Steam controller, about my current FPS template and how I use it and adapt it to different games, and a couple of things that I've done recently that I'm really happy about and that I think I'm going to implement into other configs. It's one of those kinds of days. And Deep Rock Galactic is a great game, period. But it's also a great game for the Steam controller. And since it is my current obsession, we're going to be jumping into this game to demonstrate the things that I'm talking about with our config, with our Steam controller. And hopefully, you guys will be entertained, possibly even learn something that you could implement with one of your configs. What I'm really after is getting some ideas from you to implement into my configs. I have to be honest, because there's a couple of things that I just can't get right. But we'll get to that later. First, we're going to jump in. Now, if anybody watching wants to play along, let me know. But just so you know, it's going to be one of those game sessions where I'm going to be pausing a lot and talking a lot and looking at my config a lot and things like that. So we're probably going to die a lot, and that's just bound to happen. But if that's okay with you, then by all means, jump into the game with me. And if you have a Steam controller, you could follow along and share some of your thoughts and ideas as we go. All right. It's time for us to continue. There it is. Here we are. In our space room. This game has really phenomenal music too. Like really, really good. Also, if anybody wants to jump into the live voice chat in the TRICOM, by all means, stop on by and say hello. And if you're a Steam controller person and you have thoughts about any of these things I'm talking about, well then hop on in and share those thoughts. If you have questions, if you have ideas or suggestions, come on by and share them, because I would love to hear it. All right. We are going to stick... Well, let's see. Who are we here? Scout. I want to be Scout.
You got me.
Because I love the grappling hook, and the grappling hook is so fun. It's so insanely fun that... Oh yeah, I'll do that just in case anybody wants to jump in.
Your mission is ready. The pod is prepped. Get on board the drop pod.
That I want this kind of I love games with grappling hooks. I'm a sucker for it. And I know it's just one character's ability in this game, but I want it all the time. All the time. So I don't want to change my class because I want to always have it. It's so fun. And maybe I'll get over it after a while, you know? Maybe I'll play another class and discover the value there in that class. But right now, I'm just so in love with this grappling hook. And I can't wait to upgrade it. I'm still at the very early base level. Well, I'm at level 6, I think, or 3 or 4. Between 3 and 6. So, but I'm hardly paying attention to any of that stuff because playing the game is just so fun. Just playing it.
Veins of morkite and gold further down. Bring it back, boys.
Like this flare gun. Does it have no bullet drop?
Lights up!
Pretty little.
Lighting up!
It is surprising how far you can shoot this thing. Like, watch.
Flares up!
Look at that. That's awesome. Gosh, I love it. Okay, and I love the way it looks as it lights up the different areas that it passes. Oh, it's so rad. And with like the low poly nature gives it so many interesting shadows to cast as it flies. I love it. I love it. And with all these, stalactite buckaroos, it's like a lot of interesting shadows. You see the shadows? They're also interesting. All right, but look, we're not here to talk about that. We're not here to talk about shadows or whatever else you're going on about. We're going to talk about the Steam controller. Oh, man. Here's the thing.
Light is up!
This game feels so good. And you can pet the loot bugs, but no, we're not here to pet loot bugs. Stop it. We're here to talk about the Steam controller. Let me show you. Let me show you my Steam controller config. Okay. This is basically what we're doing these days. Even if you don't play Deep Rock Galactic, this is basically what we're doing in any game. Certain things will be different for different games, obviously. But this is essentially the baseline that we're starting with. From there, we may create additional action layers for like in a Battlefield game, we might create action layers for flying or for driving vehicles or something like that. Uh-oh. Oh, shoot. My little robot friend's helping at least. All right. So in like GTA, you'll have, maybe a number of action layers or action sets for different things. But here's the basis, right? Is WASD. I'm going to approach today's discussion as if you don't already know these things. So I prefer WASD as opposed to joystick move. And there's a couple of reasons. One of the main reasons is that joystick move is not always an option. And I would always prefer mouse over any joystick-based option if it came down to one or the other. So I don't want to come to like an input system that I can't always use. It just seems like I'm setting myself up for disappointment. There's a lot of frustration and workarounds to be had with the Steam controller, and so I prefer limiting, my possible frustrations. So I don't even bother with joystick move. Another reason is I don't really see the benefit. I can see the benefit from maybe a cinematic perspective, right? If you're playing Horizon Zero Dawn, a game like that looks so gorgeous, and it's already got this third-person camera that just makes everything look so beautiful, and everything is just so gorgeous in that game. when you're moving, if you're moving sort of like a robot, snapping to these directions, it can kind of be immersion breaking. I totally get that. And with a game like that, I might be willing to keep using joystick if that were an option. But if it's not an option, I'm not sweating it because I'm used to this. Part of the reason is I've always played on a keyboard prior to using this controller. So I'm used to WASD. I'm used to having those, direct 100% non-analog digital single, direction, cardinal direction button inputs. It's fine for me. And I feel like I'm lucky in that sense. I didn't transition from a gamepad to this. So another reason is I feel like it's more precise. And so when I've used joysticks and stuff, like playing on consoles and things, I've always felt like I wish I'm going up and to the right. I'm not going straight up or straight to the right or whatever it is. That I just never feel like I never feel like that adds to my ability in the game. But it adds to maybe the visuals, right? Makes animations look better. But again, it doesn't really add to my ability, so it doesn't seem, just in my head, it didn't seem worth the trade-off. So I don't use it. And I use a D-pad, and I don't use a click, obviously. And I have it on 8-way overlap. A lot of these settings are the defaults. The dead zone, I do bring all the way down. Some people aren't going to like that, and it's understandable. Typically, I don't play games where I stand still a lot. So I don't have a lot of instances where I'm standing there and suddenly want to, like, crouch, for example. Because that's what that would be handy for. You could have your thumb there, and if crouch is on click, or whatever it is, then you can click, and you can crouch without moving. I just never run into that situations, those kinds of situations, so I have the dead zone all the way down. And nothing with outer ring bindings. I know, I'm weird. I like having my sprint on a click. There's a lot of games that use shift as an additional function. A lot of games where you're aiming down sights, shift will toggle you in closer. Oh, we have friends coming, good. And it'll activate accidentally, and then you have to do these workarounds, It gets kind of annoying. But let's take care of these bugs.
Let there be light.
And then I'll tell you about my right touchpad. Oh, yeah.
We got work to do.
Inhibitor field up. Go back to hell.
You see what I mean with the grapple? Like, it is so cool. Especially
Think you can kill me?
when you're dealing with these kinds of bugs. Because it look at all the bodies. It's really nice to be able to get out of there, And I'm so happy with where I have the grapple.
Lighting up!
Wave is petering out. Wipe out the rest and get on with it.
All right, I think... Oh, there's one. I think that's all of them. All right, so check this out. That's our left touchpad. Sometimes we might put something else on our left touchpad in addition to sprint. But pretty much always, if there's a sprint mechanic, if it's relevant in the game, it's going to be on that left touchpad click. If there's a slide mechanic, depending on how you use it, and if it's something that's that you need to fire off really quickly or something that can take a little more time, we might put that on a left pad click and hold. Sometimes that's good because in a lot of games, you're going to sprint before you can slide. So if you set it up this way, you can have your sprint on a regular press, turn interruptible off, and then on a long press with the low long press time, put that on crouch, turn your haptic off because you're not going to do that. That's weird having a haptic on the thing. Don't do that. So now when you click, you're going to run and slide. And this game is not a good game to demonstrate this with because there is no slide mechanic. But you can imagine me sliding right now. Look at, there I go. It's like magic. A magic sliding spaceman. That's so weird. Why would he even say that? Doesn't even matter. Because he's slidden past you already. Right into the safe. And now he's stealing all of your gold. And there's nothing you can do. For now. Oh shit! More bugs! So, I think we're ready. I think we're ready to talk about my right touchpad. And I'm very excited to do so. It's probably one of the best touchpads out of the two. It's definitely one of the best. Here's what I'm doing with my right touchpad. There's no... It's fully sensitive, right? Almost completely, like one tick down from full. No acceleration, no trackball mode, and I don't use trackball mode. I used to use trackball mode. I used it for many years, and I loved it, and I liked it, and then I read a comment someplace, someone saying, I don't use trackball mode, and I find that my accuracy has improved substantially, and now I can flick my thumb without having to have a second action of stopping the flick. And like he made a good case, so I gave it a shot. And then after a week, I was like, oh my gosh, actually that one was pretty fast. That was like probably 3 days. I was like, oh no, this is it. I am happy, and I have not gone back since. I have gone back for testing, experimenting with other people's configs and things like that. And I do use trackball mode on the desktop, but I don't use it here. And I have over the years been increasing my touchpad sensitivity, and I'll show you how sensitive it is. And you can tell me if it seems like a lot. Because it does to old me, but to new me, I wish I could make it a little more sensitive. I think I might do it eventually, but I'm not ready yet. I know I'm not ready yet. Phil Tato, you stopped using trackball because of me? And you turned off smoothing recently as well? That's funny. Right on. Well, and see, and everyone could do themselves, right? I mean, I don't care what anyone does, but for me, it ended up being one of those like game changer kind of things. So then I don't want to compel people to try my configs or do it my way. I want to compel people to experiment. If anything, be like, fuck this guy. I can make a better config, and then yes, do it, and make something interesting. You know, that works for a reason, and not just because that's where a button could go or should go or might go if it were on a gamepad or something like that. But make it for your hands. Everyone's hands are different. Some people's thumbs are really dumb. Like mine. My thumbs are so dumb I have to keep them wrapped up to keep what little brains they have from leaking all over my Steam controller. It's disgusting. Let's not talk about that. The mode shifting. It actually sounds really gross. Like if someone doesn't know what these are, you know, they'll think that I actually have thumbs underneath these thumb nubs. Anyway, right touchpad. And I don't have smoothing off completely. I have it down. I pretty much always start with it right here, and I don't really mess with it. Sometimes if I'm playing a game that's like one of those more cinematic games, you know, like a single player, like a story thing, then I might turn up smoothing if it needs it. But for the most part, nah. And sensitivity vertical scale, that's another one. That's another one that it took me way too long to realize that really does make a big difference. And pulling it down was again one of those things that you pull it down and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to put this back up. Unless, of course, you're playing a game that is deliberately limiting your vertical scale sensitivity, right? If you're playing a game where you're like driving a tank, you know, and it takes way more mouse movement to move it up, then you could increase that. Those instances are few and far between. So on pretty much all my configs, it's always down there, and I almost never increase it. And then this is one of those things. Trigger press mouse dampening. This is important, and on some configs, it is vital. On others, not so much. So on a game where you have ADS, I always use left trigger soft pull to ADS, and if I'm ADSing, depending on the game, I might want to dampen the touchpad a little bit. But a lot of games are doing their own dampening when you're in ADS, and then you got to decide, well, do I want to make that adjustment over there, or do I want to make it over here? And a lot of times it's better to make it in-game, only because you have more options if you're playing a game that has multiple levels of zooming, right? So you might have different options for those. I'm thinking like a Battlefield game, or even probably a COD game.
Light is up.
But for the most part,
Fight for your life. A big swarm is approaching.
Oh, a big swarm is approaching. I use this if there's if I need it. And I would say maybe a little bit more than half the time I do need it, but it really depends on the game, because my right trigger dampening my gyro would depend on how fast an enemy is moving when I'm shooting them, right? Because if I'm holding down the button, say in this game exactly, if I'm holding down the button on an enemy, there's no enemies all of a sudden. Oh, here they come.
Take it easy.
Oh, I missed.
Boom.
If I'm holding the button down, then I can move to the same speed that the enemy is moving. And I can kind of let that be my guide for how much dampening I might want to use. And it's not ideally going to be the same, because my non-dampened sensitivity is going to be good for looking all around me. So it's going to be quite a bit higher.
I need more ammo.
But when I'm shooting, I don't need that much sensitivity, because I'm not going to be looking behind me while I'm holding the trigger down, you know? Like, I pretty much would never do that.
The last of the wave.
But I might
Keep it together.
chase a target as it runs past me. In a game like Warzone, I would have less trigger dampening, because there's a higher likelihood in that game that I could end up in a scenario where someone is running right past me and I have to follow them all the way around while I'm holding the button down. In a game like this, so far, I haven't experienced enemies that I'm doing that with a lot, you know, like all the way like around and stuff. And because of that, I lower that sensitivity to accommodate the speed of the enemy that I'm attacking. And that may change as we go, but that's kind of like the mentality behind it. Another thing is mining. Mining is really fun. And... oh, I can't even call one of these down yet. So, mining is really cool. Especially with the gyro. But as far as the touchpad goes, it's nice to have that dampening because I want my touchpad to be pretty sensitive. But when I'm mining, I don't necessarily need to like do 360s, you know? So I might want to just like look to my right and then look to my left and then use my gyro. My gyro is actually feels higher sensitivity than my touchpad right now. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. So the same thing is essentially going on with the gyro, but pretty much in every game, the gyro is set to dampen. Well, maybe 90% of the games, the gyro dampens on left trigger soft pull. In this game, there's no ADS. See, so there's no aiming down sights. So that kind of changes things a little bit. But I mean, it only simplifies things. But sometimes I want to slow down my fire, right? Like, and if you don't have an ADS function, you have an alt fire function, then if you set up your dampening to be your left trigger, and your left trigger all of a sudden is no longer ADS in game, it's alt fire in game, then you don't have a dampened aiming mode, which is kind of an annoyance. And one of the solutions that I had for this, which we can test out here, is both trigger soft pull dampening. I can say both trigger soft and full pull dampening. And then over here on our left touch or left trigger, we'll set this to something like hip fire aggressive. And now I can access my left trigger by soft pulling that left trigger just like normal. But if I full pull it real quick, then it does a full pull of the left trigger, which dampens the gyro, but it bypassed the left trigger soft pull function. So now I'm not doing that, and I'm essentially in a dampened state without having to pull my right trigger and fire. So now I can be in a dampened gyro as I kind of take aim and track my target. Maybe not the most relevant thing here, but oh, a big fella.
Jane!
So like right now I can do it.
Order a supply drop.
If I'm firing on him, then I'm dampened. But sometimes you don't want to be wasting bullets if you know that your accuracy is gonna suffer because you need to dampen. So yeah, maybe hip fire for the left trigger. Oh, I just did it. Yeah, essentially. Except it's not firing, it's still letting me have the option to fire, so it's an empty binding. Things like that just make me so happy. It's something I'd done before in another game, and then applying it here, and then it just working, you know, and then like you instantly see the improvements. I mean, here's a downside to this. If you don't have good soft pull, full pull dexterity, then you might be panicking and go to use your soft pull, but you're pulling all the way through it and it's not activating. And in the moment, you're going to hit that 6 or 7 times and you're going to be losing your mind. What's wrong with this thing? And because the Steam controller can have a tendency to stop working or or kind of wig out at times, you might think that's what's going on, but it's not. Everything's working as intended. It's just your finger is freaking the hell out. The only thing you can do for that is to just put really vital functions on those and play a lot of games. And it's going to be miserable. It's going to be very frustrating, but knowing that you're just training that finger, you're going to get better at it. A game, this is going to sound like ridiculous, but like if you play a game, like Mario Brothers or something, right? Like an old retro game, put jump on that left trigger soft pull and play through the game. And even if you just have it up, you just jump in there for 5-10 minutes when something's loading or whatever, you'll be really surprised because it really makes you think about it. And that's what I find is like the main thing about developing that muscle memory, is really having to think about it. And the problem is I forget about it, and then that doesn't do me any good. I'm just playing my game and I'm forgetting about it until I remember I need it, and then I panic and I don't have it. But playing a game where you rely on it, it's fundamental to soft pull that thing.
The swarm is upon
It's going to be pretty brutal perhaps, but you'll brute force its way into your muscle memory.
Speed limit set to slow.
And I'm in trouble here because I don't have any ammo for anything other than this shotgun. I need to find Nitra. I found Nitra.
Sweet. Don't waste your ammunition. Gotta go slow.
Man, the music is so good. It makes me want to jam along. Oh, fuck. Oh. Okay.
We're almost through the wave, team.
Watch this. I'm reloading. Did you see it? Did you see it? Watch, reloading, putting the... Yeah, okay. You can cancel the animation. So I'm reloading. As soon as I put the shells in, I hit the pickaxe button and I release it really quick, which is my left trigger soft pull. And instead of waiting, so watch. That's how long a regular reload is. Oh, I can do it. Good, good, good. All right. Wait. Oh, I don't have enough nitro still. All right, so yeah, regular reload. And then watch. Oh, I screwed it up. I forgot. I didn't do the button right. All right, here, watch. Here. Do you see? I mean, it takes a few frames off. Things like that are so stupid. But I love it because it gives me something to think about. You know, like when I'm reloading, it kind of turns it into a sort of like a passive minigame.
Smooth.
Oh, shoot. Now I'm out of ammo for that. All right, we need to hurry up and get more of this nitro because I don't want to just come in here and die for no reason. I don't know if this is the kind of game that tracks those kinds of stats and things. And for whatever reason, I really care about that. Nitra, where would it be? It's right on the other side. Hey, Anwar. Yeah, COD plus Minecraft. Yeah, it's kind of like, it is very much like Minecraft with guns. But also with big bugs. And it's sort of, Sarcastic Warlock mentioned this the other day, but it's got like Left 4 Dead vibes at certain moments, you know? In a really good way. And it's a 4-player co-op game. And all the dwarves have really interesting abilities that play well with one another's. Nitra.
I should call for the mule. Molly, come here.
So, my right touchpad, we pretty much went over the surface of it. And beneath the surface,
Depositing.
we have a D-pad that we're activating with a click, of course.
It's like she's bigger on the inside.
Oh, we've got enough now. Good, good, good.
Resupply ordered.
Supplies are on the way.
All right, so look at our D-pad. Look at our right touchpad D-pad, man. Come look at it. We got 2 mouse delta snaps.
Resupply is here.
What is it here? Negative 1199. 1199. And then the bottom snap, 4096. I always max this one out. Like on all my templates, I max it out to begin with. The same thing with that right touchpad. And then I make in-game adjustments based on this. And I find that makes things nice and smooth and reliable. All those good things. I don't want haptics on there. Are you kidding me? All right. So, and then up. I used to also have up as a 180 snap. And it was really handy. And even now, I will click it, expecting it to be a 180 snap. And it's not. And the reason it's not is that I felt like it was a waste of space, especially because 180 snap was just right down here. And if it's just a matter of sliding my thumb down the touchpad or, you know, raising it and moving it down here before clicking, then I should just discipline my thumb to do that and not have to give it 2 different places to do essentially, well, the exact same thing. So instead, I've started putting other things up there. And what I've realized is this is a really great place for crouch. And different games have different things like crouching and sliding, or different things like rolling with a dedicated roll button. I think we're getting eaten alive. We are.
Ready to kill some more crate.
Let's get some of these.
Yeah. Getting supplies.
There's no crouch in this game, though, so I'm not using it that way here. But in Warzone, I do. So in Warzone, left pad click is a sprint. And if I hold it, it's sprint and then into a slide, which is the crouch button. And then there's no delay on that click, by the way. Interruptible's turned off. But in this game, left touchpad click is just sprint. And right touchpad click on the upper quadrant is, well, we might be changing it. Currently, it's the voice action button, the context voice thing. And then shift, that is the salute, the rock and stone salute. And it's been too long since I have done it. I feel disrespectful.
Yeah. Rock and stone.
There we go. I feel better now. All right. We might change that, though, and I think we will change that. I think what we're going to change that to is F and C. As you can see on Y, we're doing F and C. And what this is F is flare, so it throws our little flare, and C calls the mule over to us. I think those are going to be more handy to have on my right touchpad, if I'm being completely honest. I don't want to say that. I don't want that to be the case because I like having them here. It feels appropriate. It feels good. It feels right having them on Y and shift Y. Also, when I say shift, I mean left grip. Left grip is always shift. So, I think we need to move it. And we're just going to give it a try. We might change this later. We might not. So, it's 7 and V. And we're going to change it to F and C. And we're going to change this to 7 and V.
Swarm detected. Lock up and get ready.
All right. We're under attack again. Perfect timing.
Bosco, come here! Let there be light!
Swarm! I repeat, swarm!
Bunch of slowpokes! Ha! Point on it! Slow down, please! Follow me!
Yeah, I really like having that there.
Keep fighting, team. You're almost through the wave.
The flare on my right touchpad on the top. That feels really good tossing it out like that. That's definitely gonna stay. Absolutely. Absolutely. Whoa. All right. So that's what we're doing with our right touchpad and the D-pad underneath it.
Flares up! Come and get me, you disgusting bug!
There's more that we're doing with the right touchpad, though. We're also using the right touchpad
Bosco.
as weapon selection. And I've tried so many things. I've done so much. I've done everything. In terms of all the options, in terms of like using radials or using button menus, using scrolling and it drives me crazy. It's probably my biggest like mental block. Is that I really have a hard time making a config, putting button mappings in places that aren't going to be universal in other games. And it sucks because a lot of the games that I play do not have the same weapons as the other games that I play. So it's almost impossible. And then what ends up happening is I play a bunch of Warzone, and I'm used to just clicking that left shoulder button to swap between my primary and secondary weapon. But then I play any other game, and I have to like relearn how to switch weapons in that game if there's more than one weapon, or if it's not a weapon, toggle sort of situation. And I can't stand it. But then I just love playing games that have a diverse array of weapon loadout options, from something like this that has kind of two weapons, but then also two items, you might call them, I guess, abilities. They're not exactly weapons, but I mean, I guess in the case of some of the characters, they are. In the case of the scout that I'm playing as, they're not. So even though in this game, the mapping for weapons is 1, 2, 3, 4, and you scroll through them with your mouse wheel just like you would any weapon list, I don't like that because I only want weapons to be like offensive, like things that throw death at enemies. You know what I mean? Like a grappling hook is not a weapon to me, and I don't want to access my grappling hook through my scroll wheel on my mouse, for example. But I get why that's the case in this game, and it makes sense. But my whole point with the Steam controller, and the reason I like it so much, is I don't have to conform to what was the best choice for the general market. I can make what's the best choice for my fingers, which means that by introducing this possibility to find the perfect mapping, I just go crazy looking for it. It's such a good time. I highly recommend it. So what I've done is I've decided that my left shoulder button will always and forever, until I change my mind, be the weapon selection button. And depending on what game it is, maybe you just click it once because there's only one weapon, but it doesn't matter. That's the weapon selection button. If there's a game where the weapon selection is like a wheel or a menu that pops up and you're forced to use that interface, then the left shoulder button will be the button to bring up said menu. In the case of games like Doom, I really enjoy using a radial menu to select my weapons. And I will now activate, and this is what we've been doing for a while, but going forward, it will be, for every game, ones that I haven't updated yet. It'll be a radial if it has a lot of weapons. And then it's like, all right, well, what if it doesn't have a lot of weapons? Then radials kind of suck because you're really not building muscle memory. Let's talk about that after I kill these bugs. Or after he does. We'll kill them together. Okay. When you have a radial and you only have two options, the placement becomes really weird. It's like up and down. And up and down just doesn't feel right for me. So then I end up wanting to have a radial that has 8 options. And if I'm only using 2, I'm only using 2. But then that doesn't feel right either. Though I'm really close to trying that and doing that. But it's just like the reason I don't like that idea is because visually the radial would look ugly with a whole bunch of empty options and only using the 2. But think about it. If you always had 1 and 2 in the same exact position, then it wouldn't matter if you were playing a game that had 8 weapons or a game that had 2 weapons. 1 and 2 are always going to be in the same position. And when your intention is to switch to either 1 or 2, you're not going to have to think, oh, where is it in the context of this game? How many weapons does this game have and where would it be in the radial? No, you're just going to know where 1 and 2 are. And that's kind of like the direction that I'm leaning. What I've done is along those lines. I'll show you. In a game like this, in my mind, when you get ugly radials, you stick them down in the corner. Yeah, see, I used to do that with radials too. But when I started sticking them in the center of the screen, I started liking them way more. It became way faster for me to remember what I put on my radials. That's just because I'm kind of dumb and I need it right there, huge in my face. Well, not too huge, but I do need it right in front of me. And so then the ugly ones, I can't get away with hiding it or with turning down the opacity, but I might have to do that. Like that might be where we end up ultimately, because right now we're sort of there. And here's what we're doing. We're using this D-pad. Actually, not here. It's on another layer. And we're getting to this layer. Of course, I'm sure you would know it's that left shoulder button brings us into this layer. You hold that left shoulder button. And what we have in this game is, because to me, there's 2 weapons. At least in my current loadout with what I've got going on, there's 2 weapons. An assault rifle and a shotgun. So we're using a D-pad, and we're accessing this D-pad without a click on our right touchpad, and up and right are 1 and 2. And the idea with this is sort of transitionary, approaching the idea of having an 8-option radial, but only using however many options are necessary for that game, but still leaving empty bindings and all of the other 8 options so that I can build up muscle memory for weapon switching. That's the idea. I don't feel like I'm ready for that. And this option seems like the next best option. So it's a 1 and 2 right there, 1, 2. And I could put 3 and 4, which would make sense relative to the game's in-game bindings, but it doesn't make sense to me because 3 and 4 are not aggressive death-flinging devices. So instead, and just to clarify, I'm just touching the right touchpad. So as soon as I hold the left bumper, and I touch either up or to the right, I switch, and I am using haptics here for this switch, so I can feel that on my thumb.
Swarm detected. Get ready. They'll be with you shortly.
And there's something really cool that I will be able to do
Lighting!
that I don't really need to do right now, but I'm excited about it and doing it in the future. So on that weapon layer,
Incoming! Smoke him if you got him.
as you can see, my my radial or my D-pad binding to the weapons is on that
Let's clear them out!
mode shift. But I can switch that so it's not on a mode shift. It's on the base layer, and I can make a mode shift, which is a which could be a touchpad click. And I could have a whole bunch of other settings under there if I wanted, depending on what would or wouldn't conflict. Not necessary, though. The light dimming with the music, that was so perfect.
The stream of incoming enemies is practically eradicated, and you're still alive. Well done.
Thank you.
Lighting up!
It does take a bit to get used to, though. So what's the main objective of this game? There's a storyline. I haven't been really paying attention to it though. But you work for a some corporation,
Ammo taken.
and you're a miner, but you have a big beard, so
Grabbing ammo.
you can't be that young. And you go down here, and these caves are super rad
Stay by my side, Bosco.
and really interesting. There's all sorts of different types of missions, and I guess the general premise is you look for different extractable minerals and elements, different items that you can find. But it's like a co-op game, you know, like a 4-player co-op thing. It's extremely well reviewed. It's got a very devoted and passionate fan base as well. It's extremely fun to play with other people too. It's so hilarious and fun. This mission, I'm extracting Morkite and collecting fossils. That's my secondary objective. Honestly, I just picked this mission because it was like the lowest threat one that I saw, the first one that was low threat, and I wanted to spend more time talking about the Steam controller than playing. You know how it is. But here I am, you know, like punching a wall with a piece of metal.
Come here, you blind tin can.
So, let me tell you about these snaps. Still a big fan of the snaps. You see this? You see how it's on the edge of my screen? If I'm shooting a dude and I want to go look at that, I can go boom, and now I get to look at it. Look at that. Wow. Just look at it. Now I can look at the blue one. Look at that. Oh, now I'll look at the other blue one. Look at that. And I'll look at I'll look at the red one again. Look at that. And it's really great. And this is one of those things too that gives you sort of an additional gameplay mechanic to familiarize yourself with. And the coolest thing is it exists in every single game that you play. You start getting used to you're lining up, right? The left and the right side of your screen, because that's where you're going to snap to. Boom. Boom. In fact, I think we might need to even fix these snaps. We might need to improve these. Well, no, I mean, that's pretty spot on. Yeah, those are good snaps.
Light for me, please. Light!
I just noticed you can hear him breathing when he's running. I didn't notice that.
Time to find Molly!
In Warzone, if I kill someone using the snap, he'd think you're hacking?
No more room! Time for deposit!
You think so?
Getting closer to our quota.
You know what came out with a new update recently? I've been really interested. Is Apex Legends. They have a new mode. I played it a little bit today. But unfortunately, it kept pairing me with people that either were disconnecting or leaving mid-match. I was pretty bummed out about that. Is it not gonna break?
Lights up!
Apex Mobile is out. Right on. Is it crossplay? Cross-platform? That would be cool.
I love this grappling hook.
Oh, just in India and the Philippines. I see. Oh, bummer.
Let there be light.
Oh, this is the stuff we actually need for this level. It's more kite. Man, I love how this game looks. No, no, no. Oh, shit. Come on. I want to get to that. If for some reason in my head, I've made that a mission, I have to get to that Nitra before I can talk about the Steam controller. We're getting there. Uh-oh. You hear that? I think something is coming. Here we are.
Swarm incoming. Get through it fast. We're on a tight schedule here.
Okay, boss. Whatever you say.
provisions. The swarm is here.
Maybe we're not gonna die after all. I ordered a resupply.
Supply drop has been ordered and is on the way.
Enemy slowed down. Here, have a bullet in that fight.
Oh no, I'm stuck. Oh no, my legs are broken.
Slowing down traffic.
Yes. This shotgun is really fun to shoot too. I wish it was more than 2 shots, but at least it's powerful.
Hang in there. The wave is almost dealt with. Dispatch whatever's left.
Make every bullet count.
I just had an idea. No, it wasn't a good one. Never mind. All right. So that's how we're weapon switching. That left shoulder button is our weapon button, and in this game, that left shoulder button activates a D-pad, a touch D-pad on the right touchpad. And option up and right are our weapons 1 and 2. And then for our 3 and 4, which in this case is grappling hook and flare gun, those are set to our right shoulder button. And in games like Warzone, the right shoulder button would be your field upgrade or your whatever it is, like those perks that you have and use. Oh wait, yeah, you. Forget me, all sideways.
Punch the guy in R&D who programmed Molly.
That's funny. All right, so is that it? Some. There you go. All right.
This is a friggin' hellhole.
So 3 and 4. And when I say 3 and 4, when there's 2 things, it's usually going to be, the main press and the shift press. So in this case, main press, like just single click, right, of the right shoulder button is 3, which is our grappling hook, and then 4 is a left grip corded press pull. And here's what's neat about this, is because grappling hook is on our shoulder, and then fire is right underneath that, the trigger beneath that. I can very very easily go like this. I can go grappling hook right down to trigger. And it feels really, really fun. Watch, I'll do it again. I'll do it fast. Oh, shoot, I did it too fast. All right, let me try again. Let's change. You see, I mean, you can do it, like, pretty dang quick. And having it there instead of on a weapon selection location makes it feel really nice and really reliable. All right, so for my triggers, right trigger, soft pull is fire. And right trigger, full pull is still just keep on firing. And the purpose of right trigger, full pull is, let's say my gyro is doing maybe a little bit of dampening when I'm pulling the trigger, right? But not like a ton of dampening. But what if I wanted a ton of dampening? What if I'm shooting an enemy that's really far out there? And I want a lot of dampening. Well, then I full pull that trigger. And it goes into an additional mode shift on our gyro. Right trigger, full pull with quite a bit more dampening. And actually, I'll bring that up a little bit. So now when we're firing close up, our gyro is at this sensitivity. When we full pull and we're firing far away, our gyro is at a lower sensitivity. And it feels really nice. Again, it's one of those things where you do need to build up that dexterity, right? That soft pull, full pull dexterity, because you don't want to be activating this, say, when a character's running past you. So I use this same functionality in Warzone. And if a guy's running past me, you know, then that could be a problem. If I full pull and now my gyro sensitivity is lowered because I can't track my target, it's no good. So you do want to learn that. I find the right trigger was much easier to get, you know, that dexterity going for than the left trigger, though. Man, this game just looks so good. One of the things that I could do, and I don't need to in this game, but in Warzone, I was thinking about this. You know, I do this in Warzone. You know how you have like your tactical abilities or your items in your loadout, like your heartbeat sensor and say like a grenade, right? Those ones are on my right shoulder button. But then there's also the field upgrade, like your stopping power rounds and, you know, like an airstrike, for example. Those are not on my right shoulder button. And they're not relevant in this game. I don't have that many functions or mappings in this game. But I do want to bring it up because I use those on my right touchpad click with a shift pull. So when you're clicking normal, you've got your snaps left and right, your 180 snap behind you, and in the case of this game, throw flare when you click in front. And in Warzone, when I click up there, it would be a crouch, but there's no crouch in this game. So when I'm shift clicking, it can have completely different functions. And the functions are super accessible because it's just right there on that right touchpad clicking. So you could have weapon selection there if you wanted to. I've decided that I'm not going to do weapon selection that requires a press of that right touchpad because I find it creates a lot of friction. And then in games like Doom Eternal, where you need a weapon switch really fast, it's harder to do when you're having to press down on that touchpad. You could be better about moving your thumb to the right place before you press down, but you don't want to be sliding your thumb across it because then you're going to be screwing up your aim. So what I found was the best solution was just having it on a touch, the touching of the touchpad on a mode shift or an action layer. And that's what we're doing in this case. Since there's not that many functions in this game, I'm not using all of these things, but what I would do in a different game is I would put additional functions or abilities on that right, you know, touchpad click on a shift pull. I think Warzone might be a game. Not Warzone, I'm sorry. I think Warframe might be a game where I would put abilities on a shift right touchpad click sort of situation. Oh, that's a foot. And I'm not certain, you know, kind of like completely about that, but I'm halfway certain that that's what I would do. It's been a while since I played Warframe. I love Warframe. I miss Warframe. Warframe's a good game.
Light is up.
You know what I think I want to do? And this is just kind of a shot in the dark. I don't know if this is really going to work. Shot in the dark.
Lights up.
Yeah, but here's what we're going to try. weapons, 3 and 4, right? Let's do this. Let's not get to 3 and 4 this way. No, yeah, we're just going to take it off. We're not going to get to 3 and 4 this way. What we're going to do instead is we're going to get to our
Like a Christmas tree. We got a swarming.
weapon layer this way. And in the weapon layer, it's not going to be a mouse here. It's going to be a D-pad. And it's not going to be 1, 2 right here. It's going to be 3, 4. Think of it as a separate D-pad just for our items. Oh boy. Oh boy. We're in trouble. All right.
Die, prick! Lighting!
Oh no. All right, here. It's not releasing. We're stuck. Release press. Remove action layer. Weapons. Get away, get away.
You snooze, you lose. Gotta go slow.
The wave is almost over. Wipe out what's left.
I can't switch my weapons. It always makes it way more interesting to mess with your config when you're in a game, you know? One that you can't pause.
Throwing down traffic!
All right. All right, now let's fix this. So we're going from default into weapons. And in weapons, left bumper is this. Right bumper is effectively this. And then click action is going to be remove action layer weapons. And we have to make that a release press. Turn the haptic off. And then over here as well, I don't know if this is going to work, but we'll see. Remove action layer, click press, weapons. And then also release press. Turn haptic off. We do want the haptic there. And now, yes, I'm holding down left shoulder, and my right touchpad is a D-pad with 1 and 2 on up and right. And I can super fast switch my weapons. It's very comfortable, very convenient, makes sense in my brain, and is in line with other games. 1 and 2 being on up and right is really comfortable for my thumb. And if you have to come up with a default position for a 1, 2, 3, 4 orientation, whether it be up, down, left, right, or left, up, right, down, whatever it is, following the orientation of a radial menu is a good place to go, is a good thing to follow. Because then when you use a radial menu, up is still going to be 1 and down is still going to be, well, depending on how many you have, but you get the point, right? So if I have a radial menu of 8, everything is going to be in the same position. In this case, we're not doing the radial of 8, so I need to stop talking about that because it's irrelevant at the moment, even though I think that's where we're going ultimately. But that's not where we're at yet. So having the D-pad, and now the right shoulder button is going to now control grappling hook and flare gun. See that? Using the same method, but using the right shoulder button. That right touchpad now becomes a D-pad, and up becomes 3, and right becomes 4. And when I release, and it's all back to normal. Let's see. Let's fire some of these. And then let's try switching weapons using the left shoulder button. And now we're going to touch on the upper quadrant. Oh, and it worked. And it switched out of it. All right, this is working. Now, the main question here is the fast switching in and out of these action layers to select weapons and items, is this going to cause the action layer to end up getting stuck? It might. It might. We'll see. Nobody knows yet, but we'll see. For the time being, we're gonna see if this really works out. What's the random question? I love random questions. Have I ever played The Last of Us 2? No, I haven't. I've never really played a PlayStation game. I never played a... I mean, I guess Horizon Zero Dawn is probably like the closest to like a PlayStation game that I've played. Oh, nope. It's not working. It's doing both. All right, here's what we're going to do. Over here in weapons, let's try this. We're going to take the D-pad off. And we're going to try. Yeah, this is perfectly good. This works perfect. So now we're going to go 3 and 4. We're going to change this on the base layer. We're not going to use a mode shift. We're going to do this without a mode shift. 1 and 2. Give it a try. 1 and 2. It's working good. And then... You guys hear that? I don't know what that is. All right. Weapons layer 1 and 2. And we're changing this. We're adding to this. We're adding a quartered press. 3 and 4 with right bumper. Yeah. Right bumper. Oh, I hope I don't die while I'm doing this, but I'm committed. So I'm doing this. I think I died. Right bumper. Oh, I didn't die. Cool.
Let there be light.
Oh, man. It works. It works. It works really well. Oh, that's so cool. Dang. That's so rad. Do you realize? Up. So it's like you can think of it like 2 touch D-pads on my right touchpad. One is activated when I, pull left trigger, left shoulder, and then the other one with right shoulder. And one of them is weapons, and the other one is items. So in any game where I'm doing that, right? So say in Warzone, I would do the same exact thing right here actually in Warzone. So in Warzone, you have a primary and a secondary. So there you go, primary and secondary. I'm hitting left shoulder. My right touchpad is turning into a D-pad, and up and right are switching my weapons. I'm just gliding my thumb over that touchpad. Low friction. This is very, very comfortable weapon switching. And then if I want to change my item, right touchpad or right shoulder button turns that same D-pad on the right touchpad that shows up, turns it into my item selection. I like that. Is it quicker than my Warzone method? Well, yes and... Well, no. No. It's not. It's not. Like, Warzone is the quickest because it's just a tap, right? Well, is it quicker? It depends. It really depends where you rest your thumb. Because in Warzone, right? Like, let's say I'm playing Warzone. If I want to change my weapon, regardless of where my thumb is, whether it's on the touchpad, off the touchpad, on a face button, anywhere. If I click my left shoulder button, it'll change my weapon to my secondary, no matter what. That's extremely reliable. And functional. Doesn't need fixing. So this option that I'm doing now is technically just as fast as switching in Warzone, assuming that my thumb is on the proper position of the touchpad. And if my thumb is on the proper position, which would, you know, be something I would either pick up over time to pre-position my thumb before hitting that button, or just quickly sliding my thumb around, you know, when I'm hitting that button. Only time can tell. It really might end up being the same amount of time if I do end up getting really good pre-positioning my thumb prior to hitting that button. And if my thumb, like right now, I want to change to my secondary, so I have my thumb on the secondary position, even though it's still mouse mode, and I'm just gonna tap that left shoulder, and it instantly changes. So in a sense, it does fire it just as fast. I just have to make sure my thumb is in the right spot. But the idea with this is that I would learn to keep my thumb in that spot because it becomes super familiar that 1 and 2 are always, you know, right there. And of course, right now, I'm like struggling to remember how I just set this up because it's like the heat of the moment. I'm actually under attack and I'm like, what's the button for the flare gun?
Lights up!
But I think this is going to be better because the way I had it set up before was accessing my flare gun and my grapple was a matter of like regular press and shift press. And accessing my gun was a matter of regular press and right touchpad. But now both functions are a matter of regular press and right touchpad. And I think that's going to ultimately make things better. I think that's where I'm going to end up falling in love with this. If I do end up falling in love with this.
Light is up.
Yeah, because it is nice thinking 1 and 2. You know, like if I'm thinking 1 and 2 on my weapon, you know, being literally 1 and 2, then I think that's where it is. And then when I think 1 and 2 being my, like, grapple and my flare gun, that also being in the same position is really nice. Though I think I might want to mirror it. I think I might want to put 2 instead of it being on the on right. I think I might want to put it on left so it's mirrored. I think I do want to do that. Let's do it. 4. Yeah. And that needs to be a corded press. Right? The right bumper? Yeah, that's right. And then 2 needs to be just like that.
Let there be light.
Oh, I do like that. I do like that a lot. That feels really good.
Lighting up. No ammo left.
I feel like I'm gonna select way less often now. I feel like this is good. I'm excited to try this in Warzone. And I like it because it unifies that right touchpad. I feel like having it this way is going to help me get better with that, learning the exact specific directions of the numbers, 1 through 8, say where that, if I ultimately go that direction. But being even on the D-pad, having 4 options feels really good. Wait, 1, 2... No, I don't think I should do it this way. Even though that feels good, I don't think I should because, well, you know, I could go any direction I want with the numbers. Because if I'm doing an 8-way radial, I can put anything in any position. So I can do it counterclockwise, you know. So I can still, I think that's it. You know, I think we should try this real quick. Just real quick. We're going to go radial menu. Button 1 will be 1. 2 will be nothing. 3, nothing. 4, nothing. 5, nothing. 6, nothing. 7, nothing. 8, 2. All right. Now let's just take a look at that. 1 and 2. Damn it. No, I want those empty bindings. I want it to have the empty binding. It doesn't do it, man. Why doesn't it do it? I want it to be there. And I want it to have an empty binding. See, I don't want up and down. Up and down just doesn't feel right. My thumb moves left to right more naturally than it does up and down, you know? It's just the way joints are made. I don't know.
Slow down, please.
Yeah. I don't know if that'll work. Oh, jeez. I don't think we could do it. I could put something there that's like, you know, like nothing, right? Maybe like a backslash. It's gonna be ugly. Maybe we'll throw an icon here. Ah, damn it, come on. Oh, come on. Doesn't matter that much. All right, and then 1. We're gonna go something like that. And then we'll go something like that. Display bindings, no. And I don't want it to show anything there. It's gonna be ugly. Oh, look how ugly that is. See, and one of the downsides to a radial is they're kind of slow. And I hate it. I hate it how they're kind of slow. Don't you hate that about them? I think if I'm gonna do a radial, I'm not gonna do a radial on an action layer. I don't think so. I think if I'm gonna do a radial, I gotta do it on like the main layer. Let's see. Let's take off that binding real quick. Yeah, it's a real nasty delay. We're gonna put this on left bumper. See, that's much faster. And you might look at this and be like, well, hey, there you go. You know, there's your solution. 1 button, have all of your items right there. I know, right? It'd be so simple. But I just can't do it, man. I can't have a flare gun in the same radial as a shotgun. It just feels wrong. And in my brain, when I'm thinking, I need to select my flare gun so I can have more lights, I can't go into my weapon thing. I'm not saying that because I want to be this way. I'm saying it because
Light for me, please.
because it's just the way it is. All right. But I can't really do what I want to do. When you think about it, I won't be able to do it, because if I can't do it in an action layer, then I won't be able to use a mode shift to access two different radials.
Boots on.
In which case, using a radial is just not going to work out. Using a radial works out great in Doom because I'm able to have it right here, and it's just the one radial. But I don't really need a radial for this game.
Squish those little.
And I don't think it's enough of an improvement over the D-pad solution that we're using, at least for now. We still may approach the radial solution later on, because in theory, that would be a better way of doing it. Then every time I'm playing the game, I'm building up that muscle memory for those 8 different weapon slots, depending on how many weapons, I'm using in that game. All right, we got to change this back to right touchpad click. Right pad click. There.
Hostiles are backing down. Finish them.
Oh, yeah. Left shoulder needs to go. Aye. Malt Star.
Time to deposit!
Oh, you know what?
Can't carry anymore.
We almost have all of our Morkite. Hey, you jerk.
I'm glad we have someone to carry our rocks and stones.
Oh, man. See, and then I try to use it there. And my thumb gets fumbled.
Take off!
But I think that's just because it's new. And just when I get used to my whole grapple thing, I change it up. But it's still the same thing, you're right? I mean, as long as my thumb is just on the upper quadrant of that right touchpad, it's going to switch to my grapple. It'll be better in the long run. Did I pick up everything? Oh, there's a little more. It's almost everything. Just need a little more. Kite.
Booyah!
Whoa. I was hoping it would electrocute them, and it does. Oh no! I broke my legs. Little grapple dwarf, he doesn't know. He's got to be more. What are you doing to him? What kind of robot is this?
I needed that.
Oh, did you? Well, it's a lonely life down in the caves of space. Space caves.
Good work. Objective has been
All right, we did it.
the drop pod when you're ready to leave.
Let's get out of here.
Your ride home is on the way. Drop pod inbound.
Oh, I don't have enough for a resupply. Damn.
Drop pod has arrived. Retrieving the mule. Drop pod departing in T-minus 5 minutes.
Better than flying.
Oh, shoot. Oh, go. They're coming. They're coming. Oh, shit.
Go, drop pod isn't waiting forever.
I'm out of ammo, too. Yeah, you know, I don't know if I would do it in this game. With as much as I like using the grapple, I think having to rely on positioning my thumb correctly on the touchpad to select the grapple would have too much of a negative impact on how I play.
Let's head for the drop.
So I'm changing it. I think it's a good idea. But in this game, at least with this class, it's more important to be able to select that grapple right away than it is to be able to have a slick selection, you know, scheme.
I'm out.
Oh, great.
Drop pod departing in T-minus 3 minutes.
Oh, is there any more? Oh no, I used it all. Of course.
Let's walk the pod pace for the first round. Come here, you flying tin can. Rock and stone. Like that. Rock and stone.
I have to pet the loot bug.
Loot bug here.
All right, let's go. Oh, God.
Initiating launch sequence. Libra Galactic thanks you for your good work. Drop pod will leave with or without you.
All right, we made it.
Pod.
I wasn't actually expecting us to make it. I thought we would just end up dying and then just say, oh, well, you know, we were only caring about the Steam controller. But no, we beat the level because we're an awesome dwarf with a bright, gorgeous red beard. Of course. All right. I think that covers everything, you guys. I love the music. I love anvil sounds. I love metal clanking sounds. Don't you? Don't you love the clanking of metal? I love it. All right. You stopped using the radials because the overlay doesn't always render? Yeah. Yeah. I found that radials and, well, I mean, the Steam overlay in general is kind of unreliable, I think. I was surprised with how reliable the overlays were in Doom 2016 for me, because a lot of times, yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, you guys have probably seen it before, where even here, like a Steam big picture notification will pop up, and then it'll just stay there forever for no reason. It'll just stay there. I mean, I'm sure there's a reason, right? But obviously that's not intended behavior, and it just drives me crazy. And it's one of those things that is a good reason to maybe even avoid radials altogether. And it's why in almost all of my configs over the years, I don't use radials. But having it on that touchpad in Doom, like, made me reconsider. And I'm still kind of reconsidering. I mean, there's things that I just think are such great ideas, and they're such great concepts and clever solutions. And it blows when you can't actually do it, because even though you have the tools to do it, it's supported by sort of a not the most reliable platform. And I mean, just imagine if every feature that we had in the Steam controller configurator just worked 100% reliably. I don't know if that's unrealistic, but I mean, just imagine, like, if we could just use action layers and action sets to their full potential, like, that would just be the ultimate, the absolute ultimate. I'd be happy with no more additional features, just the ability to use the ones that we have. Man, I would pay like $100. I'd pay like $200 for a controller that had like a built-in computer, so it was fast enough to switch profiles and action layers and action sets reliably. Don't tell him, but I'd probably sell Raid for that kind of controller. I would definitely go to Space Prison, though, for selling off-planet technology. So, can't do that. Is my grapple on 4? My grapple is on 3. So in this case, one click of that right shoulder button. You started binding 1 to 3 weapons to left shoulder for instant switching. And if you have a 4th, you find another place for it. You put 1 and 2 on a multi-button regular press, and 3 on a short long press. So when you say 1 and 2 on a multi-button regular press, do you mean like a multi-click? Like a cycle? Like where it cycles between 1 and 2 when you click? I used that for a while in some game recently. And it ended up not working out because, what was it? Something when I would switch back from a different weapon, the state of the Steam controller button wouldn't always line up. So then I would have to hit it twice for it to, like, you know, because I might have my 2, or might end up somehow with my 2 in my hand. And then when I would hit the button, it would send 2, and then it would have to send it again. So I wasn't able to just do it. And it might have just been that game or something, but it's a button combo that presses 1 and 2 at the same time in one activator. It presses 1 and 2, but does it cycle between them? It cycles between them, right? Because you wouldn't press them at the same time. Yeah, it toggles between the 2. Right. Yeah, I don't know why in my case it was... I mean, it was doing it, but it was just like... I mean, I guess it makes sense. It's like it doesn't know in the game what I have equipped. So if I come out of something... What was it, man? What was it I was playing? It was something like Battlefield or something where when you toggle to your main weapon, it always switches. No, it wasn't Battlefield. Damn it. It's going to drive me crazy. I don't remember. Oh, you didn't turn cycle on? So wait, let me see. Let me see if I understand. So left shoulder, you have it a multi for 1 and 2. On a regular press, and cycle is off. Well, I guess my question is, how do you switch between 1 and 2 if it's hitting both at the same time? I guess I could understand it if cycle was on, but if cycle is off, it just seems like it would be firing 1 and 2 simultaneously. I had it set up. I've experimented with having a regular press as 1, and then a long press with like a 2-click long press time as 2. And that's nice, you know, but sometimes it's one of those things where I like the idea and I wish I could do it, but it's one of those things where I just seem to never be able to get my finger to consistently, you know, single or long press reliably. I always end up in a panic mode, and I'll like long press it, or I'll single press it, or I'll like start tapping it real fast or something stupid. So I find having like the shift clicks is good, because if I like tap it real quick, it's still going to be the same thing. There is like, admittedly, there's a lot that you can do, you know, between long presses and regular presses. You can throw a double press on there, give that something too. And in fact, you can even turn interruptibles off so that your 1 fires right away. Because, you know, in most games when you're weapon switching, it's not going to make a difference, right? If you just hit 1 and then 2, it's like pretty much instant in almost every game. And it's just one of those things where, as much as a good concept this kind of thing is, I end up just getting frustrated because I don't do it reliably. It ends up becoming like, I end up forgetting, well, which one was a long press or regular press? I wish I could. I mean, maybe we'll try this stuff again, because like that's kind of the neat thing about the Steam controller is when you look at things that you used to do that you couldn't do very well, and then approaching those things again, because in the time in between, you've undoubtedly had a bunch more experiences than maybe your skill level now. Your dexterity for different things is increased, so it's worth trying things that once didn't really work. And then again, it comes down to this whole thing. Is it even worth it? Looking at Warzone as a prime example, just clicking that left shoulder button to switch between my weapons, that works so good. It's perfect. It doesn't need to be fixed. It's just that then when you're doing that, you're not building muscle memory for, say, Doom. And how could you? Well, the whole radial idea, but only using 1 and 2. But still, that doesn't really seem to work because it's a little slow and unreliable. So here we are. Trying to find the best compromise, not for our logical brain, because yes, we're all very, very clever, but our thumbs don't care. They do not care sometimes. And our thumbs just want to make us look stupid. That's pretty much it. All right, that's it. I've had enough. Oh, when you're playing and you're using your primary weapon, it would switch to 2 since it's already on 1. That's clever. I wonder if this does that. I'm going to try that real quick. Multi 1 and 2. Oh, shoot. I forgot. We don't have weapons right here. Well, you know what, Philtato? I'm going to try that. it's probably not going to be what I'm looking for, but I'm just out of curiosity. I want to try that. I want to see if that's compatible in this game and other games, because that would be really nice if that was actually something like a solution in some of these use cases, because then maybe I could do that. Maybe I could, well, I mean, it depends. Like if the game has, obviously I keep coming back to Doom. It's not even like that's the main game I play, but I have this idea that I'm going to play Doom Eternal and I'm going to get good at it. And I know to do that, I'm going to have to upgrade my weapon switching abilities and skills. And to do that, I'm going to have to take as much friction as I possibly can out of the equation. And I think that touchpad on a mode shifted, not in an action layer, but a mode shifted right touchpad into a radial on that left bumper is going to be the best approach for Doom for my hands. At least that's what I'm leaning towards. And I guess the next best compromise is using a D-pad instead of a radial for games where I don't need a radial. Use that D-pad because that's going to be fast and reliable. It's something to think about. It's all something to think about. But it's some of my favorite thoughts. And I really appreciate you guys hanging out. Filtato, Anwar, I appreciate you guys and you sharing your thoughts. I don't often have outlets to talk about this sort of thing. Not that I don't. Like, there's a billion Discords, right? There's tons of places to go and talk about this stuff, but I don't. And it's nice to be able to have somewhere that I can and do. And that's you guys. And I appreciate your time. I hope you enjoyed hanging out in the caves, playing with our Steam controller, experimenting with our touchpads, and killing a lot of bugs. I fucking love this game. I am just in love with it. I am Twitter-pated by this game. And I want to spend all my time in here. It's a nice place. I like the sounds. I like the bugs. I like the lights. I like the beards. It's good stuff. But tomorrow's Warzone Wednesday. And you know what that means? Trains. And I can't wait. So have a good night, all of you. And if you have nothing better to do tomorrow, then come on by for Warzone Wednesday. Have a good night.